Kairos, the critical, decisive moment where everything changes, not just time passing. One moment, one choice, and one block. That moment that splits your life into before and after. You don't always just see it coming, and it won't announce itself. But when it does happen to you, you're not going to be the same person anymore. In Haikyuu, there is one moment that perfectly embodies this word, and it belongs to Kei Tsukishima. At a first glance, Tsukishima doesn't really seem like someone destined for a defining moment. He is tall, he's smart, and he does have skill. All the raw tools are there, but something is missing. Or at least it feels like it is. He's almost detached, observing instead of immersing himself, commentating instead of committing. Well, Hinata does burn with reckless, blinding passion, and Kageyama obsesses over precision like every set is life or death. Tsukishima stands to the side with just a smirk. He'll shrug things off, mocks them, and then teases. He keeps everyone at an arm's length. Not because he can't keep up, but because he refuses to dive in fully. It's just safer that way for him. And for a while, I really did love hating on him, because he just felt like dead weight. Not physically, not skill-wise, but emotionally. On a team fueled by hunger for winning, he looked full already. Like he didn't need it the way the others did. He'd rather be right than risk being wrong. Rather look composed than be vulnerable. He would rather just stay cool than care too much and lose that anyway. And it's just frustrating to watch. It's frustrating watching someone with the potential choose indifference over effort. Watching someone capable settle for just being good enough. Watching someone pretend not to care because caring would mean they could get hurt. But it's even more frustrating when you recognize that voice, because sometimes that voice can be yours. That quiet whisper that says, why try so hard? It's not like you're gonna win. The defense mechanism that laughs before anyone else can. The instinct to downplay your own ambition so failure won't sting as much. Tsukishima doesn't lack talent. He lacks belief. Not in volleyball, but in the idea that giving your whole heart to something is worth the risk. He's seen what happens when passion crashes. He's seen the effort that ends in just disappointment. And somewhere along the way, he decided that it's just better to stand slightly outside the fire than get burned by it. And to be honest, that's what makes him real. Because not everyone starts as Hinata, fearless and all in. Some of us start as Tsukishima, guarded and just analytic of everything. Afraid of caring too much, afraid that if we try our absolute hardest and still fall short, we'll have nothing left behind. So we all act like it doesn't matter. We tell ourselves it's just a game, it's just a video, it could be just a dream or a phase. But deep down, we know that's not true. And that's why his story is extremely real and hard hitting. Because it isn't just about suddenly becoming passionate overnight. It's about confronting that voice, the one that keeps you safe but small, and deciding even for a moment to ignore it, to step forward and to care, just to risk looking foolish, to try not halfway and not be sarcastic, but completely, and that's just terrifying, because once you care, there's no going back to pretending you don't. Tsukishima wasn't always like this. Before the sarcasm and the indifference, there was admiration. There was a kid who looked up to the court with wide eyes. A kid who believed his older brother wasn't just family. He was everything Tsukishima thought he could become. The ace and the standard. The proof that greatness was possible if you worked hard enough. He wore that dream like it was his own. Except it wasn't real. When Tsukishima discovers the truth that his brother never made Kurasuno's high school team, that his stories weren't real and were exaggerated, the image he built in his head was held together by lies. Something fractures inside of him. It just cracks. And it isn't simple disappointment. He felt betrayed. It's realizing that the person who taught you to believe built your belief on something fragile. And in that moment, admiration curdles into embarrassment. Not just towards his older brother, but towards himself for believing it. For caring so much and being naive enough to idolize something that could fall apart so easily. Then he sees the real ace. the little giant wearing number 10. That number doesn't just represent a player, it represents the death of his belief. Because now volleyball isn't this romantic dream tied to his brother anymore. It's reality, it's a hierarchy, it's talent, it's proof that not everyone gets to stand at the top just because they try. So Tsukishima adapts, he doesn't quit. That would mean he cared enough to be crushed. Instead, he distances. It's just a club, it's just a game, and it doesn't matter. He repeats it like it's his armor, like a spell. Because if nothing matters to you, then nothing can hurt you. If you never go all in, you never lose everything. If you never expect greatness, you're never disappointed when it doesn't come. If you laugh first, no one can laugh at you. That's the wall he builds. And for a while, it does work. The wall feels safe, safe from the humiliation and from hope. Safe from the kind of belief that can shatter when it breaks. But walls don't just keep pain out, they keep everything out. The thrill, the pride, the desperation. The moment your heart pounds so hard, you think it just might burst. The feeling of wanting something so badly that you forget to be afraid. That wall protects him until it starts to confine him. Because safety without passion isn't peace, it's just empty. And slowly, almost painfully, the thing that once felt like protection begins to feel like a prison. A prison built from sarcasm, from the distance, from the quiet decision that it's better not to care. But deep down, beneath everything, the kid who admired his brother really does still exist. The one who wanted to believe, the one who wanted to stand on that court and feel something real. And the prisons are only tolerable until you realize the door was never locked. You just have to choose to step through that door. Then comes the irony. He becomes a middle blocker, and standing beside him is something almost poetic, a loud, relentless, self-proclaimed little giant wearing that same number 10, Shoyo Hinata. The very symbol that once shattered his belief is now in flesh and blood right next to him. But Hinata isn't like Tsukishima at all. Hinata doesn't protect himself from failure, he just runs towards it. He jumps even when the block is already formed. He swings when the odds say no. He falls, gets right back up, and asks for that same ball once again. And the painful truth, Hinata improves, and extremely fast. Imagine being 26 centimeters taller and being told you're contributing less. Imagine having every physical advantage and still being outshined by someone who technically shouldn't even be out there. Then comes the line that cuts deepest. A waste of height. For a player like Kageyama and Hinata, that would be fuel. Insults become ignition. Doubt becomes drive, but for Tsukishima, it doesn't ignite anything at all. It confirms his fear. It whispers, see, this is exactly why you shouldn't try. Because what if I give everything and I'm still not enough? What if effort doesn't guarantee the growth? What if you push and sweat and sacrifice and someone with less still surpasses you? For someone who's built his entire identity around staying detached, that possibility is horrifying. Hinata represents everything Tsukishima refuses to be. Reckless with hope, shameless in ambition, willing to look stupid in the pursuit of something even greater. And every time Hinata jumps without hesitation, it forces Tsukishima to confront the question he's been avoiding. Not can I win, not am I talented, but something far more dangerous. What happens if I do actually try? Because if he tries and fails, he loses the excuse. He loses that shield of indifference. He can't say it never mattered. He can't pretend he didn't care, and that's the real risk. Not losing the match, losing the protection. So he stays measured, analytic, just invested enough to participate, but never enough to be devastated. But the gap keeps shrinking. Hinata keeps growing, and the voice that once said, it doesn't matter, starts sounding even weaker. Because deep down, Tsukishima knows something is changing. Not in Hinata, in himself. The question isn't whether effort changes everything. The question is whether he's brave enough to find out that it does. The first crack in his voice doesn't come from an opponent. It doesn't come from a loss. It doesn't even come from his rival Hinata. It comes from Tadashi Yamaguchi. The quiet one, the shadow even. The friend who stood behind him for years, not because he had to, but because he chose to. And when Yamaguchi grabs him by the collar, it isn't anger driving him. It's belief, pure stubborn belief. He isn't yelling because Tsukishima failed. He's yelling because he knows he hasn't. He sees the version of Tsukishima that Tsukishima himself refuses to see. The one who would care, the one who could dominate, the one who isn't just a waste of height anymore. And sometimes that's what growth looks like. It's not these fireworks, not dramatic transformation, not a sudden personality shift, just someone looking you in the eye and saying one single line: I know you're better than this. That line hits harder than any spike could because it dismantles the excuse. It challenges his narrative Tsukishima built to protect himself. It forces him to confront the possibility that his ceiling isn't limited by talent, but by fear. And something shifts, not loudly, not all at once even, but quietly, intentionally. Tsukishima begins to train, seriously this time. He studies his opponents with a purpose, not just curiosity. He analyzes spikers not to criticize them, but to stop them. He calculates angles, timing, tendencies. He sharpens his mind into a weapon. He still rolls his eyes, still sighs, still pretends not to care. But now he stays after. Now he just watches everyone closely. He moves. The wall isn't gone, but it is cracking. And through those cracks, something new starts to breathe. His moment isn't here yet, but it is so close. And for the first time, he's walking towards it instead of away. Kurasuno versus Shira Torizawa. A powerhouse, a wall of tradition and dominance. And at the center of it all stands the pinnacle of aces, Wakatoshi Ushijima, an ace who feels inevitable, heavy, unstoppable. The kind of player who doesn't just score points, but imposes certainty. This is where heroes usually shine. This is where the loud, fiery protagonist takes over. But Tsukishima isn't this flashy player. He doesn't try to overpower Ushijima. He doesn't challenge him with raw force, he studies him. He makes patterns and memorizes them, watches the angles of his shoulder, the rhythm of his approach, and the timing of his jump. This isn't brute strength. This is patience. This is preparation meeting opportunity. And then it happens. One single set rises. Ushijima approaches. Tsukishima jumps. And in that split second, Kairos. The critical fracture in time where everything narrows to this one choice. Every doubt, every sarcastic deflection, every year of telling himself that it doesn't matter, that it's just some dumb club, that caring is foolish, all of it is tested in one single moment above the net. If he hesitates, this wall stays up. If he half commits, he still has an excuse. If he protects himself for even a fraction of a second, nothing will change. But if he commits fully, recklessly, without holding back, everything will change. And he finally commits. The block lands, clean, solid, and certain. The stadium goes silent for half a heartbeat. But the real impact isn't the sound of the ball slamming down. It's Tsukishima himself. It's his scream. For the first time, Tsukishima doesn't suppress it. He doesn't adjust his glasses and walks away like it's nothing. He roars. And that shout isn't a celebration. It's release. Years of restraint, years of distance, years of pretending, shattering all at once. That block wasn't just against Ushijima, it was against the version of himself that was afraid to care, afraid to try, and afraid to believe effort could mean everything. His moment arrived and he answered it. But here's what I love most. That moment doesn't make you perfect. Even after the victory, Tsukishima's in the bathroom replaying his mistakes, thinking that he should have blocked more. But growth isn't a straight line. You don't defeat insecurity once, you confront it again and again. And once again, Yamaguchi pulls him back. It's okay to be happy. Sometimes this works. Sometimes there isn't this hidden punishment waiting for you. Sometimes that decisive moment really does change you. Your moment won't announce itself. It doesn't tell you that this is your moment. It will just appear. It could be a half second, a decision, a risk, an opportunity to try when it would be easier not to. And for Tsukishima, it was literally just one block. But for you, it might not look dramatic. It might not come with these cheers, but it will come. The question isn't, does your moment exist? The question is, when your moment arrives, will you jump?